Let's begin with our question and answer session. We have the first participant from Universidad Autónoma de México, UNAM, Cuautitlán, Mexico. Greetings. The question is, job insatisfaction, or lack of happiness, seems to be a growing reality in many countries. Is attaining happiness in your job a highly human skill?
Absolutely. I have often said that the trifecta of a job is enjoyment, pay, and helping humanity. This has often been the case, but it's even truer for millennials who want enjoyment and social significance as well as income.
Thank you. We have a second participant from Universidad Tecnológica de Comercialización y Desarrollo, UTCD, Asunción, Paraguay. Welcome. The question is, highly human skills are often considered soft competencies that are great for generating new ideas and innovating, but not for implementing them. What is your view on this?
Nothing is more human than using one's brain to make good decisions. Unlike other animals, people are able to understand theory, receive knowledge from other people, and test their hunches and hypotheses. There is nothing soft about that. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another participant from Universidad Tecnológica de Nezahualcoyotl, UTN, in Nezahualcoyotl, State of Mexico, Mexico. The question is, foresight and intuitive feelings are certainly highly human skills of great value in these uncertain times we all face around the world. Do you think these skills can be developed in all decision makers, or are they more attached to certain personality types?
I truly believe that intuition and logic are tools that can be employed by everyone. Indeed, they really do complement each other. Of course, some people are more intuitive than others, just as some people are more logical than others. Everyone can develop both of these highly human skills to some degree.
Thank you for your response. Our next participant is from Ministerio de Educación Superior, Oficina del Ministerio, Santo Domingo, República Dominicana. The question is, do we need highly human skills to develop a global perspective and global competency?
Everyone should realize how global the world is and how every person in business competes with people from other countries. Of course, all skills are important, but highly human skills of logic, communication, intuition, and interpersonal relations are more important than ever.
Thank you. Our next participant is from Comisión Federal de Electricidad, CFE, Centro Nacional de Control de Energía, CENACE, in Mexico City, Mexico. The question is, it seems that highly human skills are particularly urgent in times of intense change and discontinuity, such as the ones we face in the energy sector. Which of them do you think are the two most important, especially for governments or public organizations?
Governments and public organizations should realize that if you are not moving forward, you are moving back, because the world is moving fast, and there really is no standing still. Governments should provide education, physical and electronic infrastructure, health and safety regulations, and regulation to ensure fair competition. Then they should get out of the way and let people be creative.
Thank you. Our next question is from Tianjin College of Commerce, TCC, in Tianjin, China. The question is, what is your view on the role of culture in developing and practicing highly human skills in organizations today?
In a global world and international marketplace, understanding other cultures is essential. One cannot do business in Colombia, in China, or in Canada if they know nothing about their cultural traditions and predispositions. I think the study of intercultural communication is essential for all individuals and organizations.
Thank you, Dr. Andersen. You mentioned that the topic of evolution is very controversial, but you also mentioned that evolution in science and the beliefs in religion can be also compromised. Can you elaborate on this?
Sure. I know many very reputable scientists that believe in God and are of the Muslim faith or the Jewish faith or of the Christian faith, and don't seem to find any great contradiction there. You know, when it comes to evolution, we now can test DNA. In fact, I subscribe to National Geographic's Genographic Service to test where your ancestors came from. So they can trace you back 140,000 years where your male lineage and your female mitochondrial DNA came from. So these are not in doubt. These are scientific techniques that tell us that our ancestors have been around for hundreds of thousands of years and who they've interacted with and who our great-grandparents are. Of course, this doesn't undermine necessarily a belief in a supernatural force beyond behind the creation of the universe and behind the creation of animals and indeed of humans. I know people that believe that it was God that imbued humans with a soul. That doesn't have any bearing on the notion that evolution is a process that has occurred over many, many millennia. So again, to think that one of these belief systems is absolutely at loggerheads with and contradictory to another belief system is erroneous. But we certainly should not deny powerful scientific data that have been established by very reputable methods.
Correct. Thank you, Dr. Andersen. You also mentioned that science and research shouldn't be restricted solely to the elite scientific community. What is your perspective on the usage of science within educational institutions?
Well, certainly many countries and communities have failed in providing children with the optimal science education. Science should not just be a collection of facts, like memorizing the names of the planets or memorizing the names of species or something. Science should be taught as a process of coming up with an interesting question, testing that question with careful data collection procedures, and then drawing conclusions from that data. That is a process, and that is an imperative thing for schools throughout the world to teach. It then can make available to people scientific tools they can use in really everyday life.
Can you give me an example of some of these tools?
Yeah, I can give you a couple of examples. The Alumni Association here at San Diego State wanted us to do a poll. And they came to me and I said, well, let's try several different introductions to the email to see which one works. And let's do that with a few people to see if we want to do that with all 30,000 Alumni Association members. So we did that, and we found that using more intense language, stronger language, such as important message in the subject line, got about a 20% greater response. So then, with that knowledge, which is interesting theoretically to me, but it's also very practical,
yes,
they were able to go back and use that stronger message to get greater responses to a subsequent survey. Very simple thing, you can do a focus group. In the small community I live in, we were trying to pass a school bond issue.
Yes.
And we did some focus groups to find out why citizens were against bonds and why they were in favor of bonds. And when we took the answers to why they favored bonds, those then were used in our brochures to pass the school bond. So these are really easy, simple-minded applications, but using the methods that are used at a national level in many countries.